it's Rhea again with JEP's Young Scientists Program at USC, and today we're going to be talking about tornadoes, and we'll get to do a super fun experiment.
Well, tornadoes are a type of weather pattern where a rotating column of air that reaches from a storm cloud to the ground. And it's a dangerous combination of wind and power that can cause a lot of damage. And they usually last about 10 minutes and can travel up to a few miles across the earth. And they have the strongest winds out of any other natural disaster. So how do tornadoes form, you may ask? Well, tornadoes form when a large thunderstorm occurs, and when cold air meets with warm air, and this causes wind direction and speed to make the air swirl horizontally. And because of this, a funnel begins forming, and this funnel grows longer and longer until it reaches the ground, where it then becomes a tornado. Now, let's take a minute to pause this video and watch the video that I've included here and in the description for some more information about tornadoes. Now, let's move on to our question for today. So today, we're going to talk about how does a tornado work, and during our experiment, we're going to be making observations about what we see. For our experiment today, you'll need the following things. First, you'll need a plastic water bottle or jar with a lid. You'll also need some water, and you'll want to fill this to about halfway. And you can also include some food coloring and tinfoil, but that's optional. You're going to want to fill your jar or your plastic water bottle halfway full with water. Then you can practice swirling it around to see how the tornado will form. Now, if you want to add food coloring, you're going to open your jar back up, and you're going to add in a few drops of food coloring. I chose red, and I put in a few drops right here. Then I closed the jar back up tightly so it wouldn't spill. Then I practiced swirling around my jar to see how the tornado formed. If you want to add some aluminum foil, you can open up your jar again, grab some aluminum foil, and start ripping it into little tiny pieces. This will help you see the tornado a little bit better than we have been seeing it. So I ripped up some pieces and popped them in my jar. Now that I have my foil pieces in, I was able to give the jar a little swirl and see the tornado form clearer with the foil pieces, and see how the tornado picks up the foil pieces with it. Now let's talk about our observations. What are some things that you noticed during the experiment? Pause the video here to write something down. Now you may be wondering where tornadoes actually occur in the US. And the good news is that in LA and California, right here, there aren't very many tornadoes, if any at all. But they do occur a lot in parts of the middle of the United States, around here. And so those areas need to be prepared. So if you ever find yourself in any of those areas, this is what you should do to be prepared. First, you'll want to practice tornado preparedness by keeping safety supplies ready and having a plan. You'll also want to know the signs of a tornado, such as quick wind shifts, swirling clouds. You also will want to seek shelter during the tornado. And this will have to be in a basement or under the stairs of the lowest level in your house. And you want to have your arms protecting your head in case anything would happen to fall. Now that we know a little bit about how to stay prepared and stay safe during a tornado, let's write a conclusion. So for our conclusion today, we're going to write a sentence about what we learned. Now it's time to talk about a scientist. And this week, we are talking about Bianca Hernandez. She is a meteorologist, which is a scientist that studies weather, like tornadoes, like we talked about today. She works for the National Weather Service in Phoenix and helps predict weather and storms to keep us safe. What a cool job! And she's a great scientist and role model for all of us. That's all that I have for today. I hope you learned a lot about tornadoes, and thanks for joining me.